Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Appetizers. And on this episode, we're going to talk about Kojima. And he wants to make video games that change in real time. So what he's basically saying is that it's an aspect of where pretty much he would like to have games adjust themselves to real time, such as like if it's nighttime where you're at, it's nighttime in the game. If it's raining or snowing, it's snowing in the game and raining in the game, or if there's a certain amount of time that's gone by that you haven't played the game and you come back, it's different, that type of thing. So it's a really cool idea. We have some stuff that's kind of done that, and some games have done that in the past in some sense, usually using the timestamp in the on the console. But, I thought about this for myself in like RPGs or MMOs, or maybe an RPG in general, where like, maybe there's a town and something's going on in the town, and you leave the game and you come back like 2 months later, and now the town's like destroyed, or now it's like prosperous or whatever. And like everything's changed in the town, new NPCs and various things like that, and people that you knew have died and stuff. That would be really cool. It'd be really difficult to do, but that would be more like a live service type of game, or just one that changes over time. But I would assume this is kind of the aspect he's going for or thinking about. But what do you guys think? Patrick, what do you think of this idea?
Yeah, a lot of what he had brought up is, like you said, exists in current games that know what time it is where you're at, and things like that. And whether it's rainy or cloudy, I mean, some of the augmented reality games already do that, right? Think about Pokemon Go. It's nighttime outside. It's nighttime in the game. It's, it's raining. It's cloudy. It's raining and cloudy in the game. So stuff like that. Augmented realities do that somewhat now, but, and MMOs do that too, to some extent. I think in the article that we read, he mentioned he brought up Boktai, the sun is in your hand game, where he wanted a game to have a sensor that could register the garlic in your breath when you're killing vampires, and to take the console outside so it could get all the sunlight so that it could see that it's sunny when you're killing vampires. I mean, how much reality do you need in your video games? I play video games to get a little bit of escape from reality in my day-to-day. I don't care. I play a lot of games at night, so I'd hate for my games to always be nighttime, to some extent. It's like, oh man, it's dark in my game. It is a cool concept. I think we've talked about it on some of our older podcasts, where there was some horror games that did stuff like that, like control like thermostat and lights and stuff like that. So, I mean, that stuff's kind of cool, but I don't know, to what level do you take it and where do you stop, right? I mean, I don't necessarily want to play a game based in the town that I live in. I mean, that would be cool at first, but then it would get old and be like, yeah, I know this place. I want to go someplace that I've never been. I don't need Silent Hill in Springfield, Missouri or anything, Might be cool, but, Shane, what do you think, man?
It's Kojima. It's definitely a Kojima idea. It does have some interesting ideals when you start to think about what he's saying and all that. Look at Flight Simulator. You jump on Flight Simulator right now, and if you leave our airport, it is dark. It is the same time, and that's kind of what he's saying. And that's pretty cool and all, but I like the sun. I want to be able to see where I'm going when I play Flight Simulator. If it's Kojima, so it's when you discuss a Kojima ideal, it usually ends up going far out there, because the dude is amazing, but batshit crazy, but in a great way. So it has really interesting concepts, but I mean, how far will he go with it? It's like, you said Silent Hill in Springfield, Missouri. I mean, does he want to be able to access like, weather channels and all that to find out, what the weather's like your day, or, your medical records, you be in the middle of a sword fight, thing pops up, you have testicular cancer. What the fuck? It's how far do you go with this? But it is a really cool concept, though. I mean, but it all depends on implementation. Weather being real time, or time of day being real time, changing, that's one thing. But where's Kojima want to take this? I mean, does he want like a man dressed as Man Bear Pig jumping through the front door, scaring the shit out of you, and that shows up in a game? How does he really see the ideal of ever changing, evolving gameplay like that?
He wants to make Death Stranding in your neighborhood. So if it's raining, you're kind of walking through the city of Springfield raining at nighttime, looking for BTs, you know, that kind of stuff. Nick, what do you think, man, about all that?
And, you know, if they do make a Silent Hill, you know, like that's like that, you know, and you're sitting there playing it and you're like, oh, hey, here's my house. And then you hear the door opening, you're like, and you open it up in the game. You're like, oh, I don't want to play this anymore. You know, that's how realistic he probably wants to get with it.
Silent
it kind of
Hill,
reminds me.
Hill.
The sirens go off in the game and they start going off in your neighborhood. You're like,
oh crap, everything gets rusty.
There's a guy standing out there with a pyramid head and
right, right outside your window. You're like, oh,
that's just my neighbor Bob. He's mowing.
Turn the game off. It's a lawnmower, man. This kind of reminds me of like back in the day with the N64 that came out with Rumble Pack. Remember, people were talking about what are they going to have next, like the smell pack where you can smell. I mean, that's where Kojima wants to go with it. You know, he wants the smell pack. He wants you to be able to smell those entrails as you explode a dude open. You know, and or playing Doom, and all you smell is burnt ash and demon splooge everywhere.
He wants you to be at one of those. What's the guy that used to smash shit with a mallet?
Gallagher.
Gallagher. He wants it to be like a Gallagher. You know, you're just sitting there. Next thing you know, you get splattered with blood on your face, and you're like,
you got this little thing that sits in front of your TV, and when you kill something, yeah, it just sprays. It's like those 4D attractions.
Yep.
Yeah. So
that's what it's going to be. You got to go in a box to play a Kojima game. So they when you buy the game, it costs like $5,000, but they deliver like this shower sized box into your room, and you climb in there and you sit in there. And so it's all realistic. You know, you whack open a wretched zombie. It smells like ass, and you're in the game, in the room. They spray a spritz in there. You know, somebody farts in the game. Like, you know, that's going to be the Kojima game next. You know,
they used to have stuff like that for movies where, you know, we're talking late 60s, early 70s. You know, you'd be watching something and you're supposed to smell the ocean, and you scratch the thing. It smells like the ocean. It never freaking smelled like that, I'm betting. You know, or you smell, oh, that's a carcass, and, you know, it smells like, you know, Burger King or something. It's, you know, they have things
new
like
car smell.
No, that's Mary Ann. But yeah, but where does Kojima want to take it? That's the thing. You know, that's the biggest question is you or I, we see it, you know, point A, B, C. That's about where we're at. Kojima, God knows where he wants to take it.
Well, obviously in that article, Kojima wanted you to take your console outside or a cartridge and charge it in the sunlight and then breathe on it so it could tell how much garlic you ate. So how powerful you are when you fight a vampire.
Oh my God. Now you got to blow into a Game Boy just to start your car. Jesus.
I don't know if I want that level of innovation in my games. I don't want to have to, you know, you sit down to play a game to relax and play a game. You don't want to have to work while you're playing it. I mean, that seems like now, I mean, Kojima's point is going to be like, you get the sword and shield. Now, here comes a wave of enemies. You must fight them off yourself. You're not playing a controller. You are the controller now.
No, he just
back to the old Zelda, Zelda Switch game again, right? Block.
Yeah. But he sends real demons to your house.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, pulls them out.
You imagine that if he wanted that to happen, it's like, oh, there's a horde of vampires you got to kill. Oh, but it's nighttime, so you can't take your cartridge outside. You're going to have to wait till tomorrow, put it outside to charge, and then bring it back in. So you can only play this game after you charge the cartridge in the sunlight. Yeah,
that's Kojima. Definitely. You know, I see Kojima wanting to take this saying, do you remember, I'm sure y'all remember Seaman from Dreamcast. So Seaman is supposed to give you that immersion because it was based off your clock that you set it at. So daytime, nighttime cycles, blah, blah, blah. it would know that you've been gone for so long. Little bastard would die if you forgot to feed him for a few days. So I think that's probably what he's wanting to do, but amplify that by 100. Well, excuse me, Kojima 1,000.
Right. Or take it even on the level of like Milo. Remember Milo? The
Milo and Otis?
Peter
Look it up, kids.
Monaloo. The Peter Monaloo
Molyneux.
whatever.
Milo is
Milo.
a little boy that I made and put into your Xbox. And he's a little boy, and he's a genius, and I'm a genius. I don't sell shit, and people make fun of me, but I'm a genius, and Milo's a genius. Look, he sees when I do this.
He doesn't.
Where the hell would he go anyway?
I don't know. He tried to play a mobile. He tried to make a mobile game that didn't kick off, and then he just kind of disappeared. So
I'm taking a little break.
him and Milo are off in the sunset.
Yeah,
I'm
I
a
mean,
little
it is
pedophile.
interesting. I mean, Kojima makes some pretty good games. He's really good at being the hype master. That's what he's really good at, in my opinion. And his outlandish things is what makes him popular, and everybody knows who he is. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I imagine he could come up with some ideas that I wouldn't even think about in my wildest imagination to do in a game. Because I would have never thought that you're playing a vampire game and you need to breathe garlic into the cartridge and put the cartridge in sunlight. I would have been like, that seems like too much work for me.
I don't want to go outside.
Right.
Yep. Pat's just
I'm
sitting there
playing
playing it with a
inside.
flashlight. Die.
Got the clove of garlic rubbing it on the console,
Mom, I need a new Game Boy.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. His games are a little out there for me. I mean, Metal Gear and stuff was fun, but I mean, I'll be the first to say that Death Stranding was out there. It was a great game, but it was out there with some of the ideas and things that were in it. I'm like,
It was definitely out there. I mean, what's his next game? Death Stranding Director's Cut? I don't know.
Well, we know that's
we'll never
out
know.
there.
Maybe that'll have, you'll have to actually carry the package yourself.
You're walking around the streets
Across
with
the
a damn.
U.S. You're like huffing it. What are you doing,
Yeah.
son? Playing Death Stranding.
God, I can't wait to unlock a bike.
You got to get the
Are you winning?
webcam for your console so it can watch you stack the
Yeah.
boxes, and it'll tell you how stable it is based off of how how the boxes are stacked.
Well,
A bunch of people fall over in a ravine and drown playing Death Stranding.
that'll
Too
be
much
the
weight.
review.
They were
Yes.
off balance. They didn't
Not
stack
good
their
for
weight
the review.
properly.
It's not good for your health.
Yeah. It's interesting, though. I mean, who but Kojima could come up with some of this stuff? I mean, it's all in the sense of making something different, and I'm all for something different. But, sometimes different's not good. I mean, there's been plenty of things out there that they try to do in video games that just aren't going to happen or can't happen or aren't very good, so.
Well, I think Kojima being unleashed from Konami is going to be a good thing for gaming industry. I think Kojima is going to make some missteps with his first few games without people riding his ass. We know him primarily from Metal Gear, Zone of Enders, the vampire game. I can't even pronounce it. I didn't even know he made that. When I read it, I'm like, what the hell? Is a really cool idea. But I think if anybody could learn from what people have said and, hopefully not go too far off the rails, I think Kojima will be fine. But I still don't think you're going to rein him back in that much. So I'd like to see what he comes up with for this. But no Death Stranding 2 for me, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, Death Stranding had some things were really good, like the BTs. That was probably the coolest part of the game, going through BT areas. Delivering packages was whatever, but I mean, the road, like building the highways and then going through the areas with the BTs were the most. That BTs was like the most exhilarating, like stressful part of the game. But yeah, I mean, Kojima's an out of the box thinker, and he thinks a lot of different things and says a lot of different things about things he would like to do. We don't typically see a lot of execution on those things, but he does think about these things, and maybe sometime down the road, or maybe working with Microsoft using Azure, he could accomplish some of these things, kind of like Flight Simulator, like you're saying, Shane. He could possibly accomplish some of these things that he's wanting to do.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. I really am.
All right. Anybody else got anything they want to say about this? I think we put Kojima back in the box. Deliver him.
Flink.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and ring the bell notification. Watch our other videos. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
See ya.